Ibrahim Traore, who has been identified as one of the most fearless president of this days, has also been gaining popularity all over the world. Speaking of Traore being the most fearless president, let me shock you that Ibrahim Traore is more than a president. In other words, Captain Ibrahim Traore was part of a dangerous mission with his army. He was on the front line just to save his people. On the mission, there were mines almost everywhere, and thanks to their radar, they could detect terrorist bases and destroy them from kilometers with the artillery. Captain said that he set off with his men, not as a proof of bravery, but to let the commanders know that they must be with their men. Traore encouraged his soldiers to never give up and keep fighting, because the residents solely depend on them for their safety and security. They were able to liberate the city of Solenzo. For Captain, consolidating this success is what matters the most, meaning they must keep watch and remain vigilant because the enemies can come back. Ibrahim Traore, who became the world's youngest head of state in September, when he and other junior military officers ousted Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Damiba, who had also ascended to the presidency through a coup in January. Justifying why they were removing Damiba from office, Traore said in a televised address on October 1, 2022, that the embattled head of state had failed to tackle the perennial problem of insurgency. Damiba, who had been ousted by Traore, was 7 years his junior and 2 positions lower than him in the military chain of command. The international shine on him appeared to have faded until July 2023, when he accompanied 16 other African heads of state to St. Petersburg in Russia for a meeting with President Vladimir Putin, who had organized the Russia-Africa Summit. His fellow presidents were dressed in their characteristic custom-tailored expensive suits, but the towering Traore, who is slightly above 6 feet in height, showed up in military combat clothing, complete with a red beret and tactical gloves. While walking past the security officers who were saluting the arriving heads of state at the summit's venue, Expo Forum, Traore was one of the few, if not the only visiting president who saluted back. If that did not appeal to the world's optics, his muscular physique and unique presence, even in Putin's proximity, did when he posed for a photograph with the Russian leader. The saluting, the picture with Putin, and the dress code earned him the attention. But his speech during the Russia-Africa Summit, held between July 27 and 28, earned him plaudits. The problem is seeing African heads of state who bring nothing to people who are struggling, singing the same song as the imperialists who call us militia. As a result, they end up referring to us as people who do not respect human rights, Traore said. We African heads of state must stop acting like marionettes who dance each time the imperialists pull on our strings. He went ahead to blast African presidents who are happy to receive freebies. Yesterday, July 27th, President Vladimir Putin announced that free grain would be shipped to Africa. This is pleasing, and we say thank you for this. However, this is also a message to our African heads of state. At the next forum, we must not come here without having ensured the self-sufficiency of the food supply for our people. We must learn from the experience of those who have succeeded in achieving this, Traore said. His remarks were likened to those made in the early 1980s by the revered Thomas Sankara, who, just like Traore, ascended to the Burkina Faso's presidency through a coup. On October 4, 1984, Sankara, in an equally major international platform, the United Nations General Assembly, said, "Our economic ambition is to use the strength of the people of Burkina Faso to provide, for all, 2 meals a day and drinking water."